First and foremost, I invite our panel members to kindly come onto the stage and occupy the dais. I would also like to invite Swami Vivekananda ji. Sure, okay. Yeah, our superhero of the day, Dr. K.K. Mohammed ji. Professor Achyut Shankar. Dr. Gauri ji. Professor Ajay Kapoor, Dr. Apparao ji. The moderator of today's panel session, Dr. Arundhati ji. I'll just give a quick intro about Arundhati ji while everyone is settling down. She's a visiting faculty at Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth, a remarkable person who's passionate about Indic knowledge traditions. She's also the academic outreach coordinator at Chinmaya International Foundation. Her storytelling and story workshops bring alive Indic culture for students and adults alike, whether the museum as a docent, a storyteller at public libraries, or engaging parents, children, or Chinmaya Balavihar Sevaks. Professionally, she has been a physiotherapist and professor at the School of Physiotherapy, GS Medical College, University of Mumbai. Now that everyone is up here, I would request, we'll get on with the felicitations first. So I'll request Professor Ajay Kapoor ji and Dr. Apparao. So first on, Dr. K.K. Mohammed, thank you so much for coming and gracing us with your presence. A very small token of our love and gratitude. Next, Professor Achyut Shankar, for taking out time from his busy schedule and coming all the way. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Gauri ji, always beloved to CVV. Dr. Arundhati ji, I know that you are going to take the session, but before that, we know that it's going to be an excellent one, so we'll felicitate you. There are few people who had to leave early, but Swami Vivekananda ji, if you could kindly come onto the stage, we would like to felicitate you as well, a small token of our gratitude. And Swamiji, can I make a small request? Could you kindly felicitate our stalwarts, Dr. Ajay Kapoor ji and Dr. Mukhamala ji as well? Yes, Parasparam.
You are the host for the day. No shawl for that.
So that's a C20 special gift brought by Mitranandji. Thank you so much, everyone. Now we'll dive right into the panel discussion. So I hand it over to Arundhati ji, who will be taking it forward.
ओंकारं बिन्दुसंयुक्तं नित्यं ध्यायन्ति योगिनः कामदं मोक्षदं चैव ओंकार नमो नमः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् Hari Om. So, I've had such a full day and so many ideas going around in my head with starting from the Vedic times, which now they are saying dating by astronomical evidence, they're dating back to 20,000 years ago. They're not talking of the Vedic times as of 1500 BCE. They're talking about 20,000 years ago from astronomical data from the Vedas itself. So imagine we've had that pravaha of gnana right from then to the very, very current times that Dr. Ajay Kapoor and our distinguished by talking to the devatas of the place and recreated those wonders. So as you can imagine, my heart is full. Kindly, if I'm a little hesitant, please fill in with your answers the lack. Take the meaning of what I mean of the question and fill in with your answers. Kutumbakam. Kutumba is a concept which is based on relationship. It is based on trust within the relationship. There is mutual knowing and there's mutual trust. Today, when there is so much of fragmentation, which has been talked about by many people, how does the idea of the entire world being one kutumba appear utopian? And how would you create this sense of kutumba from the perspective of dharma, from the perspective of education, and from cultural perspective? These are the three themes of our main themes of our session. So I was going to start this with Swami Mitranandji, but unfortunately had to leave. So I will start with Gauriji.
Okay. So how did this concept start, you say?
The question is that does the idea appear very utopian? And how would you create this sense of kutumba? You could take any one or two of these, maybe cultural perspective if you would like to take. Dharma, education and cultural. These are the three, any of those.
So I was referring largely to the Atharvavediya Matrabhumi Sukta or Bhumi Sukta. It clearly states that Vivachasam Janam Bibhrati. That means this Vasundhara holds people talking different languages, different speeches, and Nana Dharmana. Now here dharma obviously doesn't mean religion, but various sampradayas or faiths or practices of worship. So this was there, and this, there is one simile there given that as in a family, there are some elderly people, there are some working people, there are some non-working people, there are some widows. In fact, I have lived in my childhood in a family of 25 people. My mother's Maika, my mother's home. So some people were there who we don't even know. But then they never had that feeling, that there is a disparity or this fellow is not earning anything. Wo aise hi kha raha hai. I mean, there was no such feeling. So this comes. So this comes from our tradition. So this comes from our tradition only, and all the Vedic wisdom endorses this. Secondly, now this is about the scriptural evidences. Secondly, you are asking about the culture and the art form, etc. Now, even if you see even if you not even see the entire globe, but only India, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, what a diverse population we have and different customs we have. But still, the new year is celebrated around the same time in the Chaitra Masa, in the Madhu Masa, let it, we may call it as Ugadi or Gudi Padava or Vishu or Bihu or any other thing. But throughout India, culturally we are bound because this is the vernal equinox, is the starting of the universe, and therefore that is the season we adhere to and we celebrate, no matter which language you speak and which practices or which dharma we practice. So culturally also we are one. Linguistically, of course, Sanskrit being the mother language of almost all, I don't say, because Tamilians would pop up and say, no, Tamil is a indigenous language. So Sanskrit is almost the mother language of almost all Indian, not only Indian. Our friend brought about so many similarities. So it's the mother language. So linguistically also we are woven into the same thread. Sutre Manigana Iva. So I think there is nothing great because that is our tradition. Only thing is we have to revive it now because it is the need of the hour.
Ajayji, would you like to address this? Does the idea appear very utopian to talk of the world as one family?
Yeah, I see your question that is it just an ideal which we are never going to achieve, or is it something which is doable? And I think what we are trying to ask is that out of that spectrum, there may be a few things which are always going to be something. I would say it's a spectrum of everything. And if I look back a long time, then 10,000 years back, population was very small. Very small population. I was searching on the web the other day, maybe now even in Kochi you may have that kind of number. So what was possible, and when we say dharma is what can dhara. So what can be done at that time? Is it right to expect the same thing to be done now? The Deshkal, that has to be applied as well. So that contextualization, it's boiling hot here in Kochi. If in a week's time I have to go to Melbourne, it's freezing cold there. I can't expect that I'll still don my half shirt and be roaming around. No, Deshkal has changed. Some lesson has to change. So on that basis, I think a few things will have to be contextualized. In that contextualization, if I look at another 10,000 years back, 5,000 years back, 1,000 years back, now, I think things were pretty good. They became pretty bad, and they are beginning to improve now. It is not that, 500 years back, life was probably not secure at all. Somebody could come chop your head off. Nobody will be there to bother about you. Not now. So that has certainly changed for the better. Yes, a lot more things can be done. So now coming back to this question, what can that be universal thing? So looking at education, universal education, at least for governments, is something that they want to do. 1,000 years back, at least in India, we were doing education. And then maybe 200 years back, literacy rate was very low. In certain parts, literacy rate is very low, but at least government is saying we must teach. So that with that ideal is there. Now, what quality of education can government provide? What quality of education provide is a question, but we can certainly try. We must certainly try. For me, a very, very useful thing now is the technology. The biggest problem is that children are there who don't have access to much. Our schools are there, teachers are not there. Can technology help us? So I certainly think it is possible, and we have to try it.
Achyushankar Nayarji, if you would like to take up education, specifically address, specifically address education, how would you create the sense of kutumba, keeping education as a...
I would, as a teacher, I would think education happens. One is the content of the education process, and another is the teacher, stands up as a lesson, through his or her actions, way of life. So teachers have that role to play. In the content-wise, I think many of making a in the curriculum having a content of comparative culture, which reveals to the students, gives an opportunity to the student to understand that world culture is actually highly interconnected. So both of these things can happen. Regarding the question whether it is an utopian idea, well, many ideas are worth pursuing even if we don't immediately realize. You have to keep on realizing them. The only point I feel is that it is like we have already damaged that oneness that was there innately, and we are now trying to remake it. It is just like modern concrete. These big temples that were shown here, these big stones were cut out from the larger stones. But now what we do is a large stone is crushed pieces to make it into a big piece by artificially cementing it as a concrete piece. So that is what is happening. That is my feel. It's a fragmented putting together of something that should have been innately been there.
That's excellent. That fragmentation, that crushing that has happened through the past, it has almost accelerated in the last 20 or 25 years, this kind of fragmentation, it appears. Aparauji, having lived both here in India and US, where do you think, what is the way you would address this, bringing about, recreating the sense of kutumba?
Thank you. Since topic an ecology, I will address this from the perspective of an ecology. I believe, and we all should believe, that what was done can be undone. The change comes from the individual. Nayarji said he did not want to accept the flowers. There is a lesson for all of us. By next session, the plastic is out. Just imagine what would happen if all of us on the podium and off the podium do this at the next function. And the next function. and the next function. At least in Chinmaya family, plastic will not be there. Small beginning. I can go on and on and on. Change has to come someplace. You know, you were there with Gurudev as much as I do. They asked me, Swamiji, you are spending so much time. He could not breathe, but he was still preaching. Are you making any difference in the people's lives? I know people who come to Chinmaya camps, they are as bad as it can be. Some of them. There are people who never go to temple, they are very good. This was posed to Swamiji. I said, what would you think he would have happened if he did not come here? He would come to a murder. At least now he is not committing a murder. He was smoking 2 packs before, now he does not smoke at home at least. Yes, positive influence does make a difference. It is achievable, but it won't happen one day. Individually, the world. But collectively we can. Individually we cannot clean the pollution, but collectively we can. That must start slowly. Otherwise, their time. I don't believe they are. They have a purpose, they have a thing to achieve. One man can make a difference, but all of us should try. Thank you.
Mamaji, please.
Yes. Initially, now it is at the level of a thought level. It is the initial stage, but it is going to times. Because this is the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We are going to slowly dismantle the walls of region, religion, race, and everything. So an idea can travel a lot. And similarly, there is one more Upanishadic verse, which after 5,000 years, that will take over the world. What I find is Ashtadasha Puranasya Vyasoktam Dvayameva. Ashtadasha Puranasya Vyasoktam Dvayameva Parivapagara Punyaya Papaya Parapitana. All our pujas, all our prayers, Islamic prayer, Hindu prayers, and then Christian prayers, all this is going to stop. And what is punya? Parivapagara punyaya papaya parapedanam. That is good. It may take 5,000 years, but this is at the level of a thought. Now it's going to influence the world. It has already started influencing, and there are some more walls we have to dismantle, and then the new idea will come. And that is also a kind of Upanishadic ideas. This was prophesied by Sir Arthur Schopenhauer. He was in 1820, he had studied this one, Upanishads. So he was much carried out by this Upanishad, more than that of Bhagavad Gita, more than that of Rig Veda, Yajur, Samveda, Atharvaveda. And there is an intellectual thinking going on now all over the world. And the great Emerson, in 1820, he had predicted about this thing. So that is what is going to happen now in the new ensuing world. That is what is my suggestion.
Through education, I feel I also have something to say. Through education, I feel giving on in the four walls of the building, it should be on-field education, especially when the 17 things which Ajayji also mentioned and who else, Viviktanandji also mentioned, these are the UN, these things which we have to take care of. One is starvation and wastage of food. If we don't waste food, annanna nindya tadvratam, annanna parichakshita tadvratam, and how much for producing that, if we take the children to field and show them, I think that should be extramural studies for them out of the boundaries of the four walls, and such on. If we give them, they will really understand the meaning of food, and then they will think twice or thrice before leaving anything in their plate. we used to get punishment when we left anything in the plate. Even if a sabji is we don't like, you finish it first and then you will get a sweet. So that was the thing, in which we grew up. If you have grandparents in your house, that is how you are brought up. But when we are like now living in silos, in micro families, we have lost that culture of joint families, and the children are not educated not to waste food. So that will solve half the problem of starvation of the world. So that is also needed to be trained. I mean, the children need to be trained into that.
This, just a little cultural remark about what the last point you said. We will find all across India that when a child is fed with the hand by the mother, whatever the child leaves, the mother eats up. Okay, and this was seen by people as jhutha khana. Mothers are made to eat. It is not mothers are made to eat, because annam brahma, and anna is brahma. You do not waste it, because when you waste it, it is tiraskar of brahma. And the child does not know. The mother does not want unconscious papa to go to the child. And so the mother eats up whatever is remaining. It is not that the mother is forced to eat that. So in a family, within a family, you're very right. We are able to not waste. How do you do that at the institutional level? Can I have answers to that from Ajay ji and Aparaj ji?
It is estimated that 20% of the food is wasted globally. Our people going hungry every night is less than 20. If we can just stop the wastage, which take collective effort. It starts at home, village, community, commercial establishments. Unfortunately, in the US, airlines cannot distribute the leftover food, even though they are unopened. Things will change. This is from the food lobby. They want to sell more food, so they don't want to reuse it. But things will change. Imagine 20% of the food is getting wasted every day, at every meal. If we can see that somebody eats that and feeds the hungry, then we have solved some of the problems with hunger and famine. That can be done. Again, this is a collective will. The reason the airlines don't want to distribute the food is they may get sued. Can you believe? That does happen. May happen once in a million, but that's the excuse they give. Restaurants, the same thing. They cannot distribute the leftover food at the end of the day. They can't serve it again, at least in the US. I presume some of that is true here in the big restaurants. In villages, that may not be true. What does our parents do? Whatever leftover in the evening, we ate for breakfast in the morning. It was curd and leftover rice. That is the breakfast. So, if we all become conscious of this, I believe we can solve the problem with hunger. But it needs a collective effort, a change in the mindset. Thank you.
Ajay ji, do you want to address how, when we are building up an institution, like our new university coming up, how can we address this in a very, very practical manner?
I think awareness is the key thing there. I have seen, living in Australia and before that in UK, that nearly 30% food is wasted, and sometimes it is wasted at the farm. Why? Because everybody wants apple to be 225 grams. If it is 250 grams, you throw it away. If it is 180 grams, you throw it away. So farmers are having a tough problem, but then government will subsidize them. Taxpayer will have to pay for that, and that is being wasted. There have been cases when just a little bit of discoloration of a strawberry has taken place, the whole crop is now not usable. So that thing, there was a time when in the Western world, they thought that food is abundant. You can throw, in the US it is well known, there were tall trees, fruits are there. Why climb up the tree and risk your life? Why not just chop the tree off? The tree falls down, you pluck the fruits, and after that next tree is there. It took them about 30, 40 years on East Coast to say, hey, look, we are going to destroy whole of the East Coast if we go down this route. Awareness is there. I've seen burgers used to be very popular there, but the government has started to train youngsters. These are young people, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. You try to convince them, they will not be. Now they don't want to eat it. They'll rather not eat McDonald's. They will not eat pizza. They will take a fruit. Same thing we will have to do. Forcing is one way, but that generally does not work. Now, Gauriji's idea is very good. Number one, they don't know. And there are jokes about it. They have no idea where milk is coming from. They have no idea where fruits are coming from. There are cases when children were asked, I'm sure in Kerala it won't happen, draw an elephant, and they draw a beautiful elephant. They say, no, make an elephant to the real size. They think elephant is this big. But they've never seen one. Take them to farm. Show them how long does it take. How much toiling the farmer is doing. You're throwing it away. Is it right? Take them to a family who can't afford it all. Have that kind of communication to them so that they learn and don't do this. From the very beginning, I also grew up, yes, Gauri, you were saying, in a joint family. My two grandfathers.
I shall cut the answer a little just to move on. So from this one earth and caring for the earth and caring for the produce of the earth as though one, it is belonging to our entire world family. With K.K. Mohammadji's answer, I feel the Sankalpa Shakti that he said, that has been set forth, that has strength. So the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam Sankalpa Shakti that we all over here today have made Drida. Yes, Modi ji has been saying, we have been seeing those, but now I hope each one of us here have made that as a Drida Sankalpa Shakti and see how we can take it forward. So I feel that strength of the Sankalpa Shakti will definitely manifest. I come to my next question. Diversity is often juxtaposed in conflict with oneness. And especially when it comes to local regional practices, they feel that oneness is dominating, they feel threatened. There are immense number of lifestyle diversity within India itself, but many of them have been threatened, many of them have disappeared. I'm sure if the government was not protecting certain islands of the Andaman, that too would be completely gone. So what should be our approach to maintaining that diversity? How would we approach that? I can start with Achyut Shankar.
If you give me the liberty, I would like to talk about food.
Okay.
There was talk about wasting food. I think there should be a talk about waste food. Food that is not actually fit enough to be consumed. Famous thinker, historian Yuval Harari says more people are killed by sugar, not by gunpowder, means by diabetes. We are in a state of affluence that we have more problems related to food that is assumed to be good or food that is acceptable to the affluent community. I just want to highlight something here. In England, we know that there is one of the staple food is beef. And about 25 years ago, they went very smart. They started rearing cows in the, in enclosures. And after beef is made, there is some waste material from the body of the cow that comes out. That was dried, powdered, mixed in water and given to the cow. And what happened as a result of that, there is a particular virus in it and it affected the cow. And the disease is called mad cow disease. Now the question I want to raise it, should it be called mad cow disease or mad man disease? That is the question I want.
Yes, about
Talking about the food, he said some of the foods are not that good. This is a take-home message for everyone. Don't eat anything that has a barcode on it. It is laughable, but think of it. It is a processed food. The food we consume should be in as natural a form as it can be. Sugar kills more people than gunpowder, that's a fact. There are few other things which we consume every day, including the speaker, which should not be eaten. Maida, as bad as it comes. Sugar, salt. What is common for all these three? All white. Stay away from anything that looks white, including the white man. This is serious. More people are killed by eating processed food than any other consumption of food. Raw vegetables, brown rice, not white rice. Brown wheat, cracked wheat, not the processed wheat that make upma with. They make a big difference. Weight loss, diabetes, hypertension, hypercholesteremia, they can be controlled without any medication. Thank you.
this good health is one of the millennial goals also, but also it is the intangible benefit of following certain lifestyles, as including vegetarianism, avoiding the killing of animals, and hence saving the planet from methane. I come back to my question and see if anyone would like to take up about this diversity and oneness. Would anyone want to address that? Okay.
I think that diversity is a concept that modernity has accepted everywhere, whether it be with food, whether it be with language, whether it be with religion, whether it be with ideas, and therefore that must be a mainstay of this oneness. If we did not have diversity, how would the world be like? You must have seen Yendiran, the cinema, like everybody is, some people also ask if God is so fair, Sarva Shaktan and Sarva Karunyavan, why don't he make everybody of the same equal? Imagine if we were all equal, we'd all with same capabilities. We don't watch Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli because we can also play cricket just like him. And we don't need to hold each other because everybody is equally strong. And you cannot fall in love because everybody looks the same. And so the essence of humanity is actually diversity. Otherwise, we would have just been like animals. You don't differentiate one elephant from the other. Sometimes we do, depending on the trouble that they make. But would it be possible for us to, for example, travel to America and then you find that somebody comes wearing a lungi like a Malayali and say, do you want dosa or idli? Then we wouldn't go to US anymore. The climate is different, language is different, food is different, and the mix of people is different. And so I think we must hold this value close to heart and ensure that when we say one world, it is not a world that is like robots.
Yes.
Vasundhara herself is so varied. This earth is so varied. She is not of the same color and same plants and same thing growing everywhere. And therefore, whatever is produced on the earth has to be varied. There lies more charm in Vichitrata, Chitrata. Chitra, another meaning of Chitra in Sanskrit is beautiful. It is not only a picture or not only a variety, but Chitra means beautiful. And therefore this Visheshena Chitram, Vichitram, that becomes more beautiful. It's like a mosaic. A mosaic looks more beautiful than a plain tile sometimes, because there are so many designs. So diversity is the very soul of Vasudha, and we are inheriting everything from Vasudha, and therefore we have to be diverse.
Yes. So, talking of the genetics, epigenetics also, it's the more ancient the strain of genes, the more diverse it is. How do they say certain people have more ancient genetic? It's because of greater diversity. Similarly, the ancient forests, which have not been cut, they are not the new growth forests, they have far, far greater diversity of plant life. In all animals, that's true. In humans, it's definitely true. That's how they trace that men came out of Africa. My own feeling is that diversity requires, say, language diversity. How many languages are dying all over the world and also in India? So diversity requires negotiating differences. It's a intimacy and respect which is required. It's not so easy to govern when there is that much of diversity, and hence we want to come up with one curriculum for the entire country from north to west, north to south, east to west. When the country is so diverse, we all talk about diversity, but we want to come up with one NEP. How can that be? So because negotiating with diversity and living with diversity, in fact enhancing diversity, will require a far more complex method, and it's definitely less easy to so-called govern or control. So that is one of the reasons why all governing bodies want uniformity. I don't call it oneness, I call it uniformity, and that boring uniformity that you mentioned. Since the colonial times, into the present times, the dominant view equates modern, implying the Western, actually Northern, high consumer lifestyle as desirable and all others as primitive lifestyles. To make matters worse, the educated children coming from village communities or Vanavasi communities themselves become deracinated from their own lifestyles, which were really earth revering, earth worshipping lifestyles. So the degradation of our relationship with the earth, which Professor Achyut Shankar mentioned, appears to become an inevitable outcome of this kind of an education. What solutions can we as privileged section of Indians adopt for ourselves, not just at the individual level, but at the institutional level? Because always the individual, I can say I will not use plastic, but unless there is a method by which I can get my toothpaste or my oil without a plastic bottle involved, what do I do? So at an institutional and a governmental level, would there be any strong recommendations in quick couple of sentences without greater this?
Let me tackle that. We are all aware of the home remedies for illnesses, headache, Amritanjan or whatever. Recently, while preparing for this particular topic, when Sundar told me to talk about ecology, I reviewed some literature. I came across something very eye-opening. I have done for the last 40 some years. Whenever the furniture at my home needed polish, cleaning, the cleaning lady will come, she will bring some kind of spray, and then she will wipe it clean. This plastic container, some chemicals, I presume aluminum and something else. I just read a couple of days ago while preparing for this, they said, put one lemon, that is 2 halves, in mineral oil or vegetable oil, and just wipe the furniture. It will be just as clean as using the synthetic product. We are not aware of it. You know why? It is too cheap. Who is going to publicize this on the TV or radio? We don't. The manufacturer of furniture polish has $1 billion on his budget for publicity. Unless you use this, you can't polish it. Same thing about the cleaning the silver tarnish. This chitka, I call that it was, you put 2-inch watt of water in a pan, put aluminum foil, squeeze lemon into it, boil it to water, boil it to boiling temperature, put silver. This is tarnish will come out. If it doesn't come out, do it once more. This is what our grandmothers and mothers did. They didn't buy silver polish in the store to polish their silver, but they are always clean. How did they do that? They had all of these, but it did not go from generation to generation. Nobody is publicizing the TV. Nobody is brainwashing us because it's too cheap. Nobody makes money out of it, except that you save money if you do it. Thank you.
Mamaji, the question I would direct with you is, what are the lessons from the past that would be applicable today and relevant going into the future?
Because whatever things our ancient people they knew, that should be adopted, because that is a home remedy, as Sir said. It's a home remedy. We should go back to the same thing. Otherwise, what is going to happen, for sometimes we may be able to sustain, but beyond a point we would not be able to sustain, because that would be creating a hell lot of problem, just as we have got the plastic problem and many other problems. So the only possible via media against all this thing is going back to the usual remedies, which our ancient people, they practiced it and they have proven it also. So we'll have to take lesson from those things. Then only we will be able to create a sustainable world. Otherwise, after some time, it will develop its own problem. That we should realize.
You were asking about institutional action. I would suggest that, like institutions like Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth must hold a day of a critical thinking contest based on advertising. There is one advertisement which shows a lady being shocked to see that the biryani vessel has a cockroach in it. And then the tagline says, buy this particular plywood, which is cockroach proof. So this video was shown to school students and we asked them to write 5 things against that argument. So somebody writes lizard proof plywood for that. Why doesn't this lady just ensure that it is closed, this vessel is closed, rather than worrying about so our advertisements are highly misleading. Next to fake news, you have advertisements. So we must groom our youth to criticize advertisements. So the best way is to collect all these advertisements and then screen them one day and have a contest to criticize them. Then they take some fancy to it. And there are many, I can actually reel out a large number of these nonsensical things. I'm moved when there is a mention made about home remedies, how lovingly my mother and my grandmother made hair oil. Coconut oil is there, you put some aloe vera in it, you put some chili and also pepper. Everything is put and then some leaves are put. And then it is always, one bottle was used for many years, 20 years, that Horlicks bottle, I can still see it in my mind. And what do you have now? You have a plastic bottle in which this oil comes. The only difference is that there is a beautiful lady who, is showing her hair like this. But we have no proof that it has aloe vera in it. Nothing. And the advertisement actually says, Akala Nara, this is very good. And who is buying it? 60-year-old man. That is not Akala Nara, it is Kala Nara.
So on that, a few thoughts. One that I think will be quite tricky to generalize things. I can't use whatever my grandmother was using. I am pretty confident that none of you would be able to use anything that your grandmother was using to what you are doing with this. So now I am in a dilemma. Do I tell my children to progress? And when I say progress, I mean this. unashamedly? Or should I say, hey, look, let us be a little bit more objective here and then see what things can be done and what things can't be done, and how do we decide about it, what can be done, what can't be done. So a lot of things about understanding the long term. Sustainability is a long term. For earth, there is no sustainability. For earth, Prithvi Mata has got crores of years. Dinosaurs disappeared, nothing about the sustainability for her. We have to worry about how long can we keep on harvesting what we are harvesting. So that should be. Now, on that one, I distinctly notice the cycle. You will have corporates, and if not make money out of us all, there'll be people, which I find quite a lot of them in India, pushing very, very difficult to digest ads, those claims, or news which you know is totally wrong, but then do as a society, we have a capability of determining what is wrong for us and what's right for us. I find that is where we lack quite a lot. I have spent 40 years of my life in the Western world, raised two beautiful daughters there. That's the only thing we have told them. World will keep on evolving. We know from Hindu philosophy, world will keep on changing. So please do not say it will remain as it is. Nobody says that whatever we did 10,000 years back is right. That's why I was very happy to show you that chart, that continuously we have added to the knowledge pool of the country. It's not that 10,000 years back we wrote a book, by the way, every knowledge that you need for today's problem solving. Things are happening right now as well. How do we say that is right, that is wrong? So that kind of civil society has to come up with a mechanism. I think trust is not here. I find 6 people talking on the TV. Nobody wants to listen what the other person is saying. I just want to shout, or I want to say a tagline which is very attractive. People laugh or people get very angry at that. That's all. But as a society, we don't say, why the hell should I waste my time? I'll move on to another channel or switch you off. So we have to examine ourselves as well. I'm pretty sure the ads that are shown to sell things here, you will not sell anything based on those ads in the Western world. Not a single thing. Not a single thing. I see those ads, I say, I can't trust it. I can't believe this. All people are. So, but that cycle will change. Maybe the new ones will say after 2 years, I've seen this ad for a very nice hair oil. I've started using it, all my hair have fallen out. So maybe a very nice lady in the ad is stroking that man's hair. In my case, it has not worked, so let me not trust it anymore. So that has to come. Civil society has to have a mechanism to take on people who are there to con them, take advantage of them, corporates who are there to con them. So that has to be done.
The ethics that you mention through what you've said about those profit-driven ethics, which are short-term profit-driven, has taken over the society, especially the corporate.
That has been there all the way through. If you read our history, you see Mahabharata, you see Ramayana, can we say that it wasn't there? Human nature was there as it was then, it is here now as it is. So now maybe the mechanism through which you can influence each other are a lot more. So
Yes.
that kind of training has to be provided. For us, life is a bit more tricky because for about 1,000 years, we were suppressed. So we were told whatever you were doing is totally wrong. So initially you earlier on asked that students, children, they do not like to have trust in anything that you tell them at home. Grandmother says, do it. Why will I do this? Now, why does that happen? I can bet on this. Nobody in this country, I've seen in other countries, tells children or takes classes, you must eat a pizza once a week, you must eat a couple of hamburgers. Nobody teaches them, but they do it. Why do they do that? Because advertising is very strong. If you're watching TV, on that TV, things are shown. You are in America, very long cars you are driving, very nice houses you are having, very large salary checks you are getting. So if I behave like an American, I will have that lifestyle. It's that kind of. So I'm very comfortable walking inside my house with my shoes on. Not only that, getting into my bed and with my shoes on into my bed as well. Nobody teaches me that. So that pride has to come back, that we were not bad 10,000 years back. We were doing good things. Now others are giving you this. That's why I was showing you that figure, that 1,000 years compressed into 20 years. So unless we cleverly look for those clues and tell our children that, look, and make peace that, yeah, we did go wrong somewhere. 1,000 years were really bad for us. Unless we are able to find an explanation, selling them past will be very difficult.
Yes. So we have taken some feedback. Is there? One thing I want to read out definitely from the feedback that I received on the education system. One has said, one very positive this, encourage and facilitate satsang at the institutional levels, because whoever's made this has tapped into a very important psychological aspect. It has been found that people who regularly attend satsang, what is satsang really? The positive turn of mind towards which the sankalpa shakti of the positive aspects of within yourself is strengthened, and the strength to leave aside the negative is built up. So that satsang reduces actually mental illnesses, gives emotional strength, emotional resilience in the people. Okay, so that's a very nice suggestion, and definitely any institution can invite people. We ourselves have a Chinmaya Vision program that we institute at the CVV and also in the Chinmaya Vidyalayas. There's another one which is said, we invite, and it's all in quotes, we invite foreign universities to come and set up here, while Indian universities do not enjoy the freedom accorded to the foreign ones. The foreign universities treat it as a business idea, while in India, a teacher comes to teach when they have exhausted all other career options. So motivated and passionate people with accountability are lost to the corporates and foreign bodies. So this is definitely a suggestion directed at the education ministry. Right? UGC's one size fits all rule is archaic. They try to, a technological education and an arts education is treated with the same kind of stigma kind of thing. And if you have to put everything into there is no human, but if you have to enter everything in, I don't know how you can bring about nuances in, so I've failed to understand what that whole purpose is. It does not allow for dynamism within our society, which will bring about the change in mindsets required going into the future. The mainstream education is only mainstream education is accorded the highest. I mean by that mainstream, I guess STEM, and same is not for performing arts or sports or any other Indian knowledge systems. So activities to enhance the one earth, one family, one future should be taken up. So these are suggestions that have come from the people. We did not have time to take in the suggestions for the last session, but I'm sure there must have been many, there will come hopefully also feedback for the last session. We can share with everyone, all the more detailed. So with that, I request, do you remember Swami Mitrananji saying, here is an opportunity for all of you to be a participant? I'm sure there is pent up within you ideas from many, many years. When I'm saying many years, students have been students from at least 5 years of age to now, even if you're in the 12th standard or whatever. And college students have been for many years. I'm sure you have lots of suggestions in education. You cannot have lived without those kind of thoughts. So here is your chance to vent. So please give a lot of suggestions. Change your mindset from the tamasic to the Rajasic and the highly sattvic, and give a lot of suggestions in each of these themes areas. And we will make sure, Swami Mitrananji has assured that he will be, the team will be going through, and here also the team will go through every one of your suggestions. If you made a quick suggestion, but now you think of something, you can fill out the form all over again. All right, so please do that. I would urge you all to do that so that we can take forward a very meaningful message for the for our institution, for ourselves, and for the government. Aparavji?
I have a commercial break, an advertisement. Some of you asked me, when does the engineering college start? The admissions are July of 2023. We are offering computer sciences, electronics engineering, electronics, mechanical, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and data sciences. Admissions will be open in August of 2023. Yeah, July of 2023. Classes will start in September 2023. So you have 2 months to admit. Please spread the word. Don't keep it a secret. Let everybody know. Thank you. Hari Om.
Aparavji, I swear this was written before I knew this advertisement break was going to happen. Since we are going into high technology, how would we create the world where technology does not end up as another tool of dominance and remains something which is of benefit to the entire one earth, one family? So it's an ethics that I'm sure we are going to put into practice. But
I think I quoted Elon Musk when I met at the Valedictory Vidyalaya. It is scary good. It is good but scary. We need to tame it, use it wisely. It will be very useful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. I'm sure we would have loved to listen more, but then time is not stopping. With that, we end the fruitful day with so much to think about, and I'm sure that all of us will be giving our suggestions. With that, I invite Dr. Sunita Grandhi, Director, Center for Research and Center for IKS, and Dean Academic CVV, to propose a vote of thanks.
Yes, the rest of them I can do that. Yeah. Hari Om and pranams to everyone. I'm sure all of you will agree with me when I say that we did not know what we were coming in here for today, right? Yes, yes. What a day. I never thought this is what I was coming in here for, starting with the absolutely arousing message by Swami Mitrananda, telling us about what C20 really means, the civil C20, the vision for what and how it ties with G20, and all the way to our wonderful speakers, Professor Ajayji, Dr. Apara Mukhamla, all of them speaking about the various aspects of how this resonates with today's world. And also wonderful speakers by, like Dr. Gauri ji, who spoke about the essence of how water ties in with earth. And also we had great speeches by Dr. Achyut Shankar, who spoke about, combining science and Vasudeva Kutumbakam, right? So, I mean, this is just amazing. And just to top it absolutely all, we had this wonderful presentation on the temple restoration by Dr. K.K. Mohammed. What more could we have asked today? And of course, we had also our speeches by our Puja Swami Vivekananda, who spoke about leading us from microcosm to the macrocosm itself. And then we had Sri Venugopal Govindji, who spoke about Gurukulam and the aspects on how that ties with Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Then we, of course, had our snippet videos by our most favorite actor, Mohanlal, right? So that was something. And I mean, there was just so much that today it happened. And also the two other videos from, the aspect of the Ricky Cage's Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. There was just, I mean, I cannot even imagine that so much happened in this short day. I feel guilty that all of us got to, get exposed to this beautiful seminar today. And many of our students and faculty in Variam couldn't do this, but we will make it up to them somehow by showing all these videos to them in one form or the other. So with that, I also want to thank our media and photographer team who have been with us throughout this whole day preparing for it. Our transportation and logistics team who really took the time to arrange all this with all the food, with also the busing people here, everything. Our fantastic MCs, Dr. Sampath Kumar, Dr. Sandhya Shankar, and Dr. Vishaka. Our cultural program queens, Dr. Abha Mohan and Dr. Prabhati ji, and all the students who regaled us with such beautiful music and dance today, are all our student volunteers. You could just see them seamlessly there, making the bouquets last night, working on the registration desk, being out there with the registration, coming here, helping us. And then our volunteers, Gayatri and the entire team of Sundarjis, Shrija, Girija, Bardo, all of them waiting and helping us for this one. And of course, who was behind all this? We had our very charming Sundarji behind this. So please give a big hand for Sundarji who made all this happen. I don't know if I left out anybody else, but all in all, this was just an absolutely wonderful seminar, which we hope, as Swami Mitranji said, we will see a continuation of this in some form or the other, because this message of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam has to resonate with each and one of us at CVV, because this is so close to our own heart. This is what we stand for as a vision and mission which our Puja Gurudev has given to us. So we will somehow make this happen for all of us. So thank you. And we will now have our pledge. So who will do the pledge? Me? Oh, let me get, okay, we'll do 1 second. I'll just pull it up just to make sure I don't make a mistake. 1 second.
Hurry up, check.
Sorry. Let's see. Does somebody have the English one just to be, okay, I think I might. Oh. Yes. We stand as one family, with love and respect. We serve as an army, courageous and disciplined, ever ready to fight against all low tendencies and false values. We live honestly, the noble life of sacrifice and service, producing more and giving more. We seek the Lord's grace to keep us on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom. May thy grace and blessings flow through us to the world around us. We believe that the service of our country is the service of the Lord of Lords, and devotion to the people is a devotion to the Supreme Self. We know our responsibilities. Give us the ability and courage to fulfill them. Om Tat Sat.
ॐ द्यौ शान्तिरन्तरिक्षघुं शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वे देवः शान्तिर्ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः श्यामा शान्तिरेधि ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः
One earth, one family, one future. Now we shall all sing the national anthem in one voice. Jana Gana Mana Jaya Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Uttala Banga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Uchala Jalataranga Tava Shubha Name Jage Tava Shubha Ashish Mage Gaane Tava Jaya Gata Jana Gana Mangal Gayat Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He Jaya
भारत माता की जय भारत माता की जय भारत माता की जय वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम जय
A special thanks to Dr. Arundhati Sundar for conducting a wonderful panel discussion. That was wonderful with all the questions and made us think a lot.
Thank you all of you for coming here. Yes, it's officially over. Thank you so much. Wishing everyone a happy Vishu as well.